Coming up, which vaccine to choose for COVID booster jab? What vaccines are currently available for Kazakh residents free of charge? Health experts answered these and other questions. Stay tuned. Dialogue between government and society. The 10th Civil Forum kicked off in Nur-Sultan. Learn what topics were on the agenda from our news digest. Hungarian journalists, bloggers, and tour operators were blown away by Kazakhstan's tourist attractions. Details next. Which vaccine to choose for a booster jab? Why is it recommended to receive a third dose of the coronavirus vaccine? And what vaccines are currently available free of charge? Health experts have answered these and other questions. Today, Kazakhstan launched its revaccination of the population campaign. Everyone at risk is invited to receive a third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Вакцинация показана в первую очередь медицинским работникам, которые в первую очередь сталкиваются с потенциальными пациентами.
In the first instance, revaccination will be offered to medical staff who faces the potential coronavirus patients. Then there are teachers, law enforcement officers, and people over the age of 60 who unfortunately have many chronic diseases and who are most likely to develop a severe form of COVID-19. These are also the staff staying in closed medical institutions and persons with weakened immunity.
И пребывающие или контингент в закрытых медико-социальных учреждениях. И кроме того, лица с ослабленным иммунитетом.
While everything is more or less clear with the first two doses of COVID-19 vaccine, when it comes to the booster dose, a number of questions arise. For example, which vaccine to choose? The vaccine choice is extensive. For example, the US Pfizer vaccine, to get which people in other countries stand in lines, is available in Kazakhstan for everyone, but not for free. There are, however, free options as well. Currently, Kazakh residents can get Sputnik V, Sinopharm, Qazaq, and Vericell. However, if a person has previously received a vector vaccine, he must now receive an inactivated one. This way, the chances of developing antibodies can increase, experts say.
Ревакцинироваться принципиально другой вакциной на другой.
It is strongly recommended to choose a different vaccine for the third dose, which was made on a different platform, because this way, the other links of the immune system that were less affected are involved. For example, some person was vaccinated with an inactivated vaccine, let's say Qazaq. Then it would be better for him to choose for a booster shot a vector vaccine, or one that was manufactured on the mRNA platform.
Платформе векторной или на платформе МРНК.
According to the Health Ministry, in the first phase of the COVID-19 booster vaccine campaign, it is planned to inoculate almost 1 million citizens. More than 6 million residents will receive a third dose during the second phase. There is no vaccine deficiency, the ministry said in a statement. Quarantine has been eased in Almaty starting today. All carriers resume their work in the metropolis, including those on tourist routes. Railway stations, public service centers, educational organizations, canteens, baths, sports and fitness centers, and beauty salons are now working without restrictions. Restaurants and cafes operate with occupancy rate not exceeding 50%. The main condition is that the establishment must be a member of the Ashq system. A decrease in the number of people infected with coronavirus has been recorded in Kazakhstan. Over the past day, 921 infected have been identified in the regions of the country. The city of Almaty has the biggest single-day case count. 127 more people fell sick. Previously, the biggest count was in North Kazakhstan region, which now moved to the second place. Here, the diagnosis was confirmed in 120 people. They are followed by Nur-Sultan and Pavlodar region, with 110 people testing positive. Meanwhile, according to the Ministry of Health, over 30,000 Kazakh residents continue to receive treatment for COVID-19. More than 6,500 of them are in hospitals. 493 patients are in serious condition. 92 are connected to ventilators. To date, 7,946,142 people have been fully immunized in Kazakhstan. The efficiency of the COVID-19 booster shot exceeds the effect of the primary coronavirus vaccination almost twofold. This statement was made by the deputy director of the Gamaleya Center, Denis Logunov, at a meeting with the Russian president. According to him, the effectiveness of the initial vaccination decreases 6 to 8 months after the immunization. A third dose is required to compensate for this. In his return, Vladimir Putin announced that he had undergone revaccination against coronavirus with Sputnik Light. He said he felt good after the vaccination. Meanwhile, the United States has broken the COVID-19 mortality record. According to Johns Hopkins University, more people have died from the virus in less than a year than in 2020. In total, since the beginning of the pandemic, the virus has claimed the lives of nearly 800,000 U.S. residents. 3 states are recognized as the worst hit for COVID-19 deaths: the states of Mississippi, Alabama, and New Jersey. At least 1 person was killed and 3 others were injured in a shootout between police officers and a man in the old city of Jerusalem. One of the passers-by died in a hospital. The other is in serious condition. 2 guards were injured. According to the official version, the man was a Hamas militant and was killed by the response fire of the police. His accomplice is now wanted. In 2022, mutual trade in the EAU will grow by 16%, while exports to third countries will increase by 9.5%. This forecast was prepared by the Eurasian Economic Commission. Experts also expect an increase in agricultural production, in dollar terms, by 2% over the level of 2019. They predict that the fastest growth will be in the production of grains, vegetable oils, milk, wheat, vegetables, and fruits. Another ministerial meeting in the European Union Central Asia format is being held in Dushanbe. The parties intend to discuss the current status and prospects of relations between the EU and the countries of the region. The participants will also discuss the prospects for interaction and more efficient interregional cooperation. The largest temperature-controlled vaccine storage facility in Central Asia was opened in Tashkent. There are 3 refrigeration chambers with a capacity of 1,000 square meters, ultra-cold freezers with a capacity of 3,000 liters, and freezers with a capacity of 40 cubic meters, as well as a storage facility for auxiliary immunization materials. According to Uzbek Health Ministry, this warehouse will serve as a logistics hub for the entire national vaccination program and will enhance the country's ability to supply and manage drugs. The first president, independence, parliament. This was the name of the international conference that took place in the capital. This time, the traditional meeting was dedicated to the 30th anniversary of Kazakhstan's independence. Speakers of parliament and experts of foreign organizations from Slovakia, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Azerbaijan attended the event. The event participants highly appreciated Kazakhstan's achievements over more than a quarter of a century. At the same time, according to them, the ability of the first president to raise topical issues related not only to domestic but also foreign policy plays an important role.
President Nazarbayev proposed the very concrete program for peace and development and find the very good place for Kazakhstan between superpower like China and Russia. And I think in this project, every country, not only in this region, in Asia, but in the world, can find the good place for life.
Every year, an average of 150 new members join the ranks of Kazakhstan's third sector. While there were only a couple of dozen NGOs at the dawn of the country's independence, at present their number exceeds 23,000. Thus, the country's civil sector has grown to the most developed social institution in Central Asia. Kazakh Minister of Information and Social Development Aida Balayeva announced this during the opening of the 10th Civil Forum. According to the participants, the forum has become the main platform for dialogue between society, government, and business. Over the years, more than 500 recommendations have been elaborated and taken up for practical implementation by state bodies.
Биыл да форум шеңберінде түрлі тақырыптық секциялар, арнайы кездесулер мен сарапшылар дәрістері өткізілді.
This year's forum will include various thematic sections, special meetings and lectures. We see efficiency and results in every forum. In this regard, there is great confidence in the partnership of the state and public organizations. The most important thing is that we have established a joint work, a common understanding and a systemic approach in this area. Therefore, I hope that every opinion expressed during the forum will be taken into account and form the basis of our plans for the future.
Ендеше форум аясында айтылған әрбір ой, пікір мен ұсыныс есепке алынып, ертеңгі жоспарымыздың жолынан табылар деп сенемін.
The number of forum participants is growing from year to year. For the first time, such large international organizations as OSCE, UNICEF and UNESCO are taking part in this event. The forum will be held over 5 days. Live broadcasts will be available on social media. For the first time in 12 years, space tourists will fly from Baikonur to the ISS. The launch is scheduled for December 8th. 2 Japanese citizens and a Russian cosmonaut are preparing for the space travel. Until that time, the crew will have to undergo instructions. On ship operation and a medical examination. At the moment, space tourists have already got acquainted with the onboard documentation and tested the systems. They will spend 12 days in orbit. Over 13,000 tourists from Hungary have traveled to Kazakhstan over the past 5 years. More than 22,000 Kazakh citizens have visited the sites of Hungary during the same period. Experts predict that these figures will only increase year by year. Kazakhstan and Hungary were the first to mutually recognize national vaccine passports. Since September, the countries have resumed mutual regular flights. Recently, journalists and representatives of Hungarian travel agencies were among the travelers who came from Budapest to Nur-Sultan. Foreign guests met with their Kazakh counterparts and visited a number of cultural sites and attractions of the capital, noting the great tourism potential of the country's main city.
Мы приехали сюда с группой журналистов для того, чтобы в будущем привлечь.
We came here with a group of journalists in order to attract more Hungarian tourists to Kazakhstan in the future. We really like that the city is modern and continues to develop. The expo side is simply beyond praise. I think the potential is enormous. There is still room for improvement, but the level is pretty high now.
Есть куда еще развиваться, но и сейчас очень достаточно высокий уровень.
The potential for developing bilateral partnerships between the two countries is vast, both in the area of trade and economic cooperation and investments. Since 2005, the volume of foreign direct investment from Hungary to Kazakhstan has amounted to more than $258 million. To date, there are 28 companies with Hungarian capital and 41 joint ventures operating in Kazakhstan. The parties have already signed agreements on the implementation of joint projects in the fields of medical tourism, agriculture, renewable energy, transport, logistics, and finance. Previously unknown historical facts about the life and work of Issa Baizakov are being studied in Pavlodar. In the archive materials, the staff of the Bukhar-Jaral Literature and Art Museum came across the manuscripts of the improvising Akın. Unique ancient records in Arabic will now be carefully studied by scholars. These are Issa Baizakov's manuscripts in Arabic. Our staff is now digitizing the records. We already know that there are 3 pieces in the notebook. One of them is called Altın Balık. As soon as we finish the translation, we can say exactly whether they are embodiment of the author. Historians also managed to restore an old tape with a recording of Issa Baizakov's voice. This 30-second fragment of Issa Baizakov's voice was restored in the best possible form. The exhibit was preserved quite well. We'll try to make a fragment of the recording a national wealth. Works on the museumification of the archaeological site Kızıloba, dating back to the Golden Horde era, was carried out in North Kazakhstan region. This is done to protect the unique mausoleum from external influences. According to scientists, excavations have been conducted in the tombs, which were erected 7 centuries ago since 2019. Archaeologists note that representatives of the ruling Chingizid's family from the Joly Khan dynasty were buried there. Silver coins, jewelry, and pieces of pottery were also found there. Why did we immediately decide it was the Golden Horde? The point is, if you take a look, you will see square bricks. All over the world, such bricks were characteristic only of the Golden Horde. In modern terms, it is a kind of a brand of the Golden Horde.
в современном понимании.
7 mazars of the Golden Horde era were discovered in this region. According to historians, an ancient settlement should be located near them. Archaeologists will start looking for it next year.